Hi guys, it is Tamara. Thank you so much for coming back to my channel. Welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about the aftermath and the consequences of distancing yourself from toxic family members. A lot of you voted in my community area poll. Thank you so much for doing that, by the way. A lot of you voted and chose option C. So if you haven't seen, I'm going to put it right here so that you can see what the options are. A lot of you voted for option C, and I think the reason why is because, this particular subcategory of topics is really something that a lot of you are experiencing and dealing with, or you have experienced in the past. So I think you guys are going to like the series of videos that I'm going to do in this particular category. But in today's video, we're going to start with, what is going to happen to me when I've distanced myself from my toxic family members. So let's just go ahead and jump in. Let's not waste any more time. Thank you so much for coming back to my channel. For all of you who are subscribed and participating, thank you so much. And for those who are new, I encourage you to hit that subscribe button so you can stick around with us and become a part of our growing and validating community. And the benefits for you in today's videos, I'm going to highlight a couple of things that you're likely to face when you decide to kind of pull back and distance from your toxic family members. And in case you don't know who I am, let me go ahead and briefly introduce myself. My name is Tamara, and I'm an internationally and board certified trauma therapist, but I'm also licensed in mental health, and I specialize within my practice in working with children, families, adolescents, and adults. So I did a video, I want to say last year, maybe the year before, about toxic family members, and it really was a pretty good hit. I got at least a ton of consultations and a ton of emails and a ton of tweets and a ton of Facebook messages. I have a Facebook business page. I got a ton of messages on there from you guys asking me, how do I cope with my toxic family? And after watching that video, I think it kind of started a little bit of a set of light bulbs to go off for a lot of you. It was like a light bulb moment when you watched that video. And a lot of you mentioned to me the difficulty that you were having in separating, especially from a parent that you actually love. I actually had someone on the channel who said, Tamara, thank you so much for this video on toxic families, but how do you distance from your mother, somebody that you love and care about? How do you distance from your father, somebody who means so much to you? How do you distance? How do you say, you know what, here's the boundary, I'm not going to deal with you anymore? Like, how do you do that? And what's even more difficult, and I get this a lot in my practice, is how do I distance from my own child, right? How do you distance from your own child? It's unfathomable, right? It's really difficult to do that. Distancing means not just backing up for a little bit. Sometimes distancing means backing up for however many years you need to back up and not communicate and not send emails and not text and not see each other on holidays. It's really putting up a barrier and a defense to protect your sanity. And that is difficult. So, I think a lot of you, including myself, when I had to do it so many years ago, and even still with my extended family members, I think it's really difficult to try to resolve, within your mind, the conflict of that's my family, I love them, and yet I need to separate. Like, how do you marry those two things? And I think it's really difficult for a lot of you. It was difficult for me. I want to say maybe 15 years ago, I separated from my extended family, my cousins and, my cousins' cousins. And one of the reasons why I did was because they were very psychologically and emotionally unhealthy, from envy to competition to just insecurities to really not being trustworthy, really not being the kind of family that, someone needs to feel safe with, or, someone that could show you unconditional love, right? I don't always have to give you something in order to receive from you. And so I felt like, I always had to like give, and I got little back in return. And so at a tender age, I want to say maybe like 15, 16, I said, you know what, I'm done. I don't want anything to do with you. And I tried again when I graduated from college and graduate school to invite them and, be a part of them. And it was really, really difficult for me. I was very uncomfortable during the whole thing. And I told myself at the age of 27, 28, 29, and even 30, don't look back, And I think that's where we go wrong because of what I'm going to talk about next, which is the consequences and the aftermath. So let's go ahead and jump into that, okay? So what's the aftermath and the consequences of distancing from your family? Well, let me explain. The first thing that you are likely to deal with, and this is basically something that's going to happen amongst your family members, okay? You're probably going to see family members like a chameleon. They're going to come across like a chameleon, okay? If you've distanced yourself from toxic family members and you know you did the right thing and you put up that barrier, and you said, no more, this is it, right? When you're at that level of being fed up, just I'm over you completely, your attitude, your behaviors, your opinions, your desires, your wants, your needs, all of it, I'm just over it. When you get to that level of being fed up, don't be shocked when they come to you like a different person, because it's likely to happen. I call it the chameleon effect, okay? The chameleon effect. Basically what it is I know you don't want to have anything to do with me, but I'm going to try to be nice to you. I'm going to try to text you and call you every day. I'm going to tell you how proud of you I am. I'm going to take you out to dinner and to lunch. I'm going to invite you to every holiday. I'm going to send you gifts and birthday cards and Christmas cards and Valentine's Day cards. I'm also going to send you a couple of gift cards, and I might just send you a little bit of money that you might want to put in your bank account. I'm going to do all of this until you come back into my life. And then when you come back into my life, I'm going to slam the door in your face. The chameleon effect. I'm going to appear this way to you. Maybe not intentionally. Maybe their intention is good. They just don't have the ability to carry it out fully, And then there are those sociopathic family members and really histrionic family members. I talk about histrionic personality right up in this video here, but there are some histrionic, very dramatic family members, very sociopathic, very narcissistic family members who do kind of like coax you back in, but be aware. Beware, I should say, the door is going to get slammed in your face. All right, so that's one thing you're likely to see when you distance. Another thing that you're likely to see when you distance yourself is triangulation. You're going to get a family member call you on the phone. Hey, what's up? Like, why are you guys not talking? Did they really do something that bad? We're family. We really should stick together. I don't understand why that offended you. Why is that offending you? Oh, come on. Like, she's been like that for years. You're going to hear it all, and I'm sure you can relate. Triangulation is the process by which that person who feels like the victim, which is probably the family member that you left behind, that you distance yourself from, they're going to go to somebody else, or somehow it's going to come out, and that other family member is going to want to play the rescuer, and they're going to come to you and try to figure out what went wrong, how can I fix it, why is this happening, right? So be ready for that one. Triangulation. The next thing that you're likely to see when you distance is diffusion of responsibility. Here's the definition of diffusion of responsibility. The basic idea here is it's a socio-psychological concept. What I mean by that is it's sociological and psychological, in the sense that, somebody within that family unit feels like, I'm not going to make an effort to initiate anything, and I'm not going to initiate anything, because if I just sit back, I know that somebody else is going to take it up. Okay, diffusion of responsibility. So let's say, for example, you were hurt and this family member did something wrong to you. They wronged you. They lost your trust. They made you feel really bad. They really turned their back on you when you needed them the most. They don't understand you. They don't care to understand you. They never have understood you. Let's say that has happened. Somebody else in the family may feel like, I'm going to step up and deal with this situation and try to correct it, because that's my role within the family. I'm the rescuer, I'm the hero. Well, that family member, every time they hurt you, probably will just sit back and see what happens next, because they are used to somebody else stepping up to take charge. So diffusion of responsibility is basically the idea that it's a phenomenon. It's the idea that I am going to sit back and not do anything. I'm not going to initiate, because somebody else will take up the role. There was a study done a couple of years ago, and it's put almost in every psychological textbook in college, in a Psych 101 class that you can find. And, it's like a it's like an introduction to psychology book. And almost in every introduction to psychology book or psychology 101 book, you're going to find this study. And the study was on diffusion of responsibility. And it was either a young man or a young woman in the study. I can't remember. If I can find it, I'll put it in the description box for you. But this individual was being absolutely harmed. They were being attacked by someone in the middle of a busy street. It was actually a sidewalk, in the middle of a busy sidewalk. And everyone around that incident stood and watched. They refused to step in because the idea behind the study was this: if somebody else expects somebody else to step up, they're not going to do it. So the responsibility is kind of like, are you going to do it? 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 Right? And that's the attitude sometimes within families as well. So get ready for that if you haven't already experienced it. Okay. The next thing that you are likely to see if you distance yourselves from these toxic family members is prying. You're not going to have privacy. If you have a very, for lack of a better or clinical term, nebby family, right? If you have a family that's just, the kind of gossipy, dramatic family that really kind of depends on the next family member for gossip, for news, for information, for status, for updates, for whatever, hidden secrets. If you have that kind of stuff in your family, which I think we all do at some level, I have it deep down in mine. If you have that going on, you're likely to get some prying hands. They're going to want to know what was said, what was done, why did you make this decision, what brought you here? And don't be surprised, guys, if you decide to explain why, they don't get you, because toxic and unhealthy family members don't get you. They just don't. That's why they're toxic. So, if they come to you, be ready to experience a lack of understanding, because that's what's likely to happen. The next thing, guys, that I want you to keep in mind is doubts, shame, and regrets. When you distance, you're going to have regrets. You're going to have regrets around holiday time. You're going to have regrets on special occasions. You're going to have doubts, when somebody reaches out to you and it reminds you, it kind of takes your mind back to when things were good. You're also going to have some shame because, who wants to tell somebody else that my family and I don't get along, that we've separated, we don't talk, we're toxic together? So you're going to experience some doubt, you're going to experience some shame, and you're most definitely going to experience some regret. Imagine if you haven't already experienced this, being in a family that's toxic and unhealthy. You've distanced yourself from that family member or from that side of your family, and yet you hear other family members doing very well with that person. They're having fun. They're living it up. You're going to regret your decision to distance because you're going to feel left out. You might even feel hurt. You might even feel ignored. Okay. So be ready for that. And last but not least, guys, I think you're also going to feel lost for a little bit. You're going to feel confused for a little bit. And you may also find yourself feeling really uncertain about life, and you're going to experience what I like to call an existential discomfort. And that's when you are so conflicted about what you're thinking, what you're feeling, and your reality. Okay, it's these things right over here that kind of gets you in that mode of existential discomfort that, every day it's like wrestling with those emotions and those thoughts and those feelings. And it's really trying to, put them on a certain plateau or a certain foundation. And you're trying to look at it and figure out, like, was this the right decision? Was this the right decision? It's like looking at a map of your situation and trying to figure out, should I move that piece over there? Oh, I don't know if I should have done that over there. And that's likely to happen. And that's okay. That's a part of the process. That's the consequence. That's the aftermath of distancing from a toxic family member. This is a really tough topic, guys. And, I've been in the field now for 12 years, going on 13 this year. And, I'm really grateful that I've had the opportunity to work with a lot of you that watch me on YouTube, for a lot of you that come into my office and haven't watched me on YouTube. I'm really grateful for that opportunity and to be a part of your lives in the sense that, we can talk about what you're struggling with and I can give you suggestions. You can apply them and see it work for you. That's a really great thing, But one of the things I've noticed in my 12-year career is it is never easy for a client or someone who consults with me to make that final stand that I need to leave this family member alone. or this lover or this marriage, right? It is not easy no matter what. And you may have to go to therapy for years. You may have to fall and make mistakes and reach back out to these family members or whatever, and then fall again and be hurt again, and then really make up your mind again. Like, it's a back and forth. It's like a seesaw sometimes. And you're probably also going to go through some rough patches depending on what's going on in your life. When my grandmother died last April, it was a tragic incident for all of us. And I personally was there. Thankfully, the hospital let me in. And I was there at the last minutes of her life. And, it was heartbreaking in the sense that we all seemed to come together as a family, my extended family and then my immediate family. My brother and his wife and my nephew and niece and my family, my younger brother and his family, that kind of thing. My mother, we all came together and we were a great family. But as soon as we buried my grandmother, as soon as things kind of settled a little bit, the drama began again. And I just remember last year putting up the defense. We're not going there again. We're not doing that again. It's unhealthy. And we're all grown adults here, right? So you may find yourself fluctuate depending on what's going on in your life. And that's okay too. But you always want to keep in mind, and this is where, at least I haven't failed in this area yet in my life, is I've noticed that I don't ever really sway. I'll be nice to you. I'll show you love. I'll be compassionate. I'll give you some of my ear if you need me to listen to you. Or I will kind of, I'll bury some of our disagreements and the pain you've caused me and the rejection and the envy and the competition. I'll bury all of that so that we can be together temporarily for whatever reason. Sometimes it's a death, sometimes it's a marriage, sometimes it's a holiday, whatever. But I haven't forgotten you. And I won't, and it's okay to have that attitude. Go ahead, check this video out right up here, guys, about toxic family members. That's the original video. And this is going to be like a part 2 to that video. So if you want to learn a little bit more about what I mean by toxic family members, go ahead and check that video out in the cards. And I'll try to post some videos that I've done on other topics involving family and parents and emotionally detachment within families and relationships in the description box for you. Thank you so much for being with me today, guys, in this video. I encourage you to give it a thumbs up if it was helpful, and go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you want to stick around for us. I'm so sorry it was long. Wanted to make sure that you had really, really good information in this video. Let me know if this is you in the comment section below, guys, and let me know if this video was helpful. All right, I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.